Do we look like a news team?
I'm sure.
Anyway. We're playing a game.
It's a very fun game.
We're playing the fanfiction game. To play this game,
Yeah.
you need a bowl full of characters that we have pre-written out.
A bowl full of scenarios, also pre-written.
And a bowl full of locations, once again, pre-written. For each round, you draw 2 characters, 1 location, and 1 scenario. And you have 30 minutes to write that fanfic. And that's what we're gonna do.
Yes. This isn't our game, by the way.
No, we totally stole this idea.
This is Little Karibo's game.
Anyway, we're gonna do it. Okay. Pick your characters.
I will.
A location. And a scenario. Oh no, they're all falling everywhere.
There's so many characters.
There's so many characters. Princess Peach and Sans fell out.
Oh no.
So, read to us what you drew.
I drew Michael Clifford and Taya Gardner
Oh god.
in the war during the zombie apocalypse.
That works so well!
I know. Why do you think I said it was great?
I got Phil! Phil Lester.
Aw.
Amazing Phil. And... I got Phil and Dan! I literally got Dan and Phil! I literally got Dan and Phil! I'm literally writing a fanfic! They're on their deathbed! No! Trapped in a video game! Dan and Phil, trapped in a video game, on their deathbed.
How do I set the timer? There we go.
We have 30 minutes, we're gonna pause, and we'll come back.
Right.
Right,
We're back.
we're back.
It's been a half hour.
And we have 2 very glorious stories.
I had Michael and Taya in the war during the zombie apocalypse. Now let's see what became of that. Anyway, as the dust settled around him after a rather massive explosion, Michael could still see a massive horde of zombies coming after him, climbing over the bodies of fellow zombies he had just murdered in order to keep them from murdering him. Michael had been away in the war for at least 3 months now, as this started out as just that, a war. But unfortunately for him, things don't stay normal for very long in this world. After examining the zombies for a minute, Michael decided it would probably be best to run away, though he rather enjoyed standing around watching the waves crash onto the coast of Japan, where he had been stationed.
Why not?
He quickly grabbed what few weapons that remained in his possession after the last attack, refastened the buttons on the coat of his military uniform to keep it from getting caught on something if it were flailing around freely, and ran as quickly as he could into the deserted city he was nearest. There weren't many civilians left in the town of Domino since the war and zombies came, but Michael hoped that if he did run into someone, they wouldn't be crazy and shoot him. He was a very long way from his military base, and he couldn't afford to be injured. Michael kept running, calling out to see if anyone, not a zombie, would answer. Damn, he sighed under his breath as he still could find no signs of a living human. Just then, he heard a scream coming from a nearby alleyway. Michael ran down the alley to find a group of zombies attacking someone, though he couldn't see who. Sorry, Michael said, taking out his trusty .32 caliber pistol he kept on his belt and pointed it at the zombies, who turned at the sound of his angelic voice. Brains are off the menu. One of the zombies began to run at him as he pulled the trigger, shooting all of his bullets into the zombie's head, knocking it clean off somehow. Much to his dismay, he threw away the pistol and took out the shotgun he carried on his back for just this kind of emergency, mowing down all of the zombies without hurting civilian, acting like a total badass in contrast to his usual self. But that's just how the war had changed him. After he had lost his best friends to the zombies long ago, Michael had to tough it up if he wanted to survive and avenge his fallen friends.
She killed 5 sauce!
He walked over to find the civilian cowering behind a dumpster, her pink jacket perfectly matching the blue miniskirt she was wearing, save for all the zombie bloodstains. You're safe now, Michael said, offering his hand to her to help her stand up, which she took, her rather large blue eyes returning to life with a small spark of hope as she gazed upon the dashing, slightly balding soldier. Thank you, the young Asian, yet somehow white schoolgirl said, bowing to him in respect. No problem, he said, smiling. I'm Michael Clifford, by the way. Taya, she answered. Taya Gardner. Well, Taya, Michael said, looking to see more zombies approaching, handing her a second shotgun. It's like, you know how to use it? I think so, Taya said, examining the weapon she now held in her hands. Good, Michael said, readying his own weapon, closing his eyes and thinking quietly to himself. I'm not gonna let another person die. Not again.
So he killed them!
No.
She killed 5 Sauce.
The zombies killed 5 Sauce.
She killed 5 Sauce.
The zombies killed 5 Sauce.
Round of applause for killing 5 Sauce. Anyway, mine is just implied death. I had Phil and Dan and Phil trapped in a video game on their deathbed. This is what happened. They really messed up this time. It's not uncommon for Dan and Phil to make mistakes, it's just this one turned out terribly. Usually mistakes for them just resulted in a really awkward moment, but nothing could have prepared them for this. They were innocently filming for their gaming channel. They figured everyone needed more wacky adventures in the life of their sim, Dill Howelter. Phil decided to buy yet another expansion pack, as it seemed camping and spa days weren't enough anymore. Phil bought an expansion pack all dealing with the technology in the Sims universe, and ever since they changed Jill's career to scientist rather than a mixologist, they assumed they would have a lot of different technology to mess around with. Until they misclicked. See, one of them hit the wrong button and chose the wrong option, and before either of them knew it, they felt launched from their chairs and were blinded by a flash. Once they regained their composure, they fully realized what had happened. They had been transported into the Sims world, right into Dill's house that they designed. How did this happen? Phil asked, kind of freaking out, looking at the room around them. Phil, you spork! This is your fault. You were controlling the keyboard, Dan shouted. That doesn't explain why we were sucked in here, Phil retorted. He suddenly stopped, noticing the bar above Dan's head. Oh no. What? Dan asked. We're Sims! There's one of the things above your head! What? Dan immediately reached for his head, but realized that was stupid, as he probably couldn't physically feel them. Oh my god, how are we gonna live? We suck at this game! It's just like living in real life. Eat, sleep, work, go to the bathroom, and avoid death, Phil said, trying to assure Dan. It'll be easy. Well, it was anything but. They discovered their bodies were starting to react like a Sim's, and time was moving way faster. Dan needed to take a bath, but Phil also had to pee, and boy did they not want to do those things at the same time. After frustratingly trying to live while also trying to figure out how to leave, they decided their hunger was getting low and to make some food. Phil insisted he could cook, but Dan kept a watchful eye on him, just in case. It was going fine, so Dan decided he could take a little break. Phil, I'm going to the bathroom, he said. Please don't mess anything else up. They weren't so lucky.
Oh no.
When Dan came back, Phil was screaming, which made Dan freak out. There was a fire erupting out of Dill's oven, and all Phil was doing was staring at it. Dan ran up to him and tried talking to him and telling him to move, but Phil wouldn't budge. The flames crept closer to the two, and Dan decided it was time for action. He threw his arms around Phil, picked him up, and literally carried him towards the door. But oh no. There was a plate in the way.
Oh no.
There was no escape. Is this really how I died? Dan asked, no one in particular. Well, I officially hate my life.
Me. Oh, there was a plate in the way of the door. They couldn't leave. Oh. Where was Dill during all of this?
I don't know. Not there.
He wasn't a character.
He wasn't a character. He could have saved them. But he wasn't there. Irresponsible son.
R.I.P. Dan and Phil and 5 Sauce.
R.I.P. Dan and Phil and 5 Sauce. We're killing all of our idols.
Oh no, that's not good.
Are we doing round 2?
I guess.
Alright, round 2. Ah! You dropped Frankie Jonas!
I'm sorry, Frankie!
Round 2 reveal.
Okay.
What did you get?
I drew Eren Yeager and Yugi Moto at the gate to hell, walking the dog.
Okay. I got Merrick.
Madagascar.
That. And Louis Tomlinson. What a duo. At an anime convention.
Oh, that explains why Merrick's there.
Yep, that at least. Writing a song.
See, that explains why Louis there.
That works so perfectly.
We're back again.
Round 2.
No, ew.
Stories are ready. Here we go.
Okay, to recap, I had Yugi Moto and Eren Yeager walking the dog, a gate to hell. I apologize. I called this one Partners in Dog Walking. Why did you agree to this? Yugi asked, his already large eyes widening as his protagonist counterpart explained to him what they were doing as they stood in front of the gate to hell. I told you, it's the only way to turn me back into a full human, Eren said, trying to convince the ball of purity standing next to him that this was a good idea. It's like, walking Satan's hellhound is going to turn you normal, Yugi said flatly, repeating what Eren had already explained to him before. As he was drafted by the anime protagonist club to go along with him, as seeing as they were protagonists, and therefore good people, they believed completely in and practically worshipped the buddy system, especially since someone had to constantly be around to make sure Eren didn't turn into a titan and kill them, or Light didn't take out the Death Note and kill them. But that was an issue for another day. Now the issue was that Yugi had to tag along while Eren walked Satan's dog to try to get the Titan part of him taken away. You realize he's probably lying to you and just trying to exploit you to get out of walking the Hellhound himself, right? Yugi asked, hoping Eren wasn't really as dumb as he was acting right now. Why would he do that? Eren asked, raising an eyebrow at his partner in dog walking. It's like, you're kidding, right? Yugi asked, dumbfounded by Eren's lack of judgment. No, seriously, why would he do that? Eren asked as a demon came through and handed Eren the Hellhound's leash. Yugi looked down at its collar to see that it was inappropriately named Angel. Upon sniffing the small boy, the dog decided it didn't like how pure he was, so it bit his leg, sinking its teeth into his leg, blood staining the pants of his school uniform. Narrowing his eyes and sighing flatly, Yugi looked at Eren, wishing the Pharaoh were here to kick his ass. Eren, he said calmly, you're a super special moron. That's the end.
Round of applause for morons. I had Merrick and Louis Tomlinson at an anime convention writing a song. So, this is interesting. Louis was lost, physically and mentally. Mentally, he was caught up in all this drama with the stupid baby and the girl who he didn't even like. Physically, he was in some weird convention hall and people all around him were dressed as characters with oddly colorful and wavy hair and outfits that were a little bit not so normal. Louis didn't really know why he went to the anime convention of all places. He just needed some inspiration for a song. He loved writing, and the break from the band had kind of pushed him away from that. And once he decided he wanted to try again, he was hit with a nasty case of writer's block. Louis sighed, looking in every direction at the multitudes of people, trying to see if there was anything he could possibly use to help himself. Some of his thoughts were interrupted, though, as a few people asked him for a picture. He was happy to oblige. He always loved meeting fans. When they left, though, another man in a costume Louis didn't recognize walked up to him. "Who are you?" the man asked. "And why do you have more fangirls than me?" Louis was slightly confused. Not that he didn't know Louis, just confused at the way this guy looked and talked. Was he just really into his character? "Louis Tomlinson," he answered carefully. "I was in a band." "Merrick Ishtar," Louis assumed that was the character's name. "A band, you say? I'm quite the musician myself." "You are?" Louis asked, intrigued, but also unconvinced. "Then would you be willing to help me write a song?" "Of course I could. I've written a few smash hits in my day," Merrick bragged. "Really? Like what?" Louis asked, almost regretting asking instantly. "Hit it, Bakura!" Merrick shouted, but no one was there, so it looked really weird. Louis thought it couldn't get any weirder until he started singing. To the tune of Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, he sang, "Me and Bakura will have our revenge. Him and me will take your leather pants," over and over, and kept repeating that they wanted leather pants. His dancing was also awful. He looked like one of those things outside car dealerships that fly up in the air when you put air in them. But Louis wouldn't really judge there, because he was also a terrible dancer. When he finally stopped, Louis's face was blank. What the hell could he possibly even say to that? "You know what?" he said. "It's a start." He stood up and awkwardly patted Merrick on the shoulder. "Thanks, I guess."
A wonderful homage to Leather Pants. A beautiful song.
Am I gonna have to link that? That was cool.
It was good.
It was fun. It was swaggin'.
Swiggity swaggin'.
Anyway. We're done now.
Okay.
Bye.
Go watch Little Karibo.
Or don't.
Their
Your
fanfics
choice.
are better.
True.